Hello again, it's Boogs, here with our third installment of Armour Briefs. Many thanks to those of you who liked, commented and subscribed following the last video. And more thanks to those of you who interacted with the poll on our Discord, but more on the details of that later. This week I have another brilliant tank to talk to you about. That is, of course, the Leopard 2 MBT, as seen when playing the Canadian faction in Squad. Now every week when I start writing the history aspect of the videos, I'm always listening to your feedback. The first week it seems I missed some things out, but last week it sounds as if I went on for a little too long. No worries, hopefully I can balance that out today. As always, if you want to know about the full history of the Leopard 2, then I suggest doing a little bit of further reading or going to other sources, as we're really trying to just focus on the gameplay aspects of the MBTs in these videos. With that being said, the Leopard 2 has a rich development history that has produced many versions, and so I will be cutting a lot of that out in the interest of time. Now we start with the Leopard 2 baseline, which is now referred to as the A0 variant, as so to be consistent with the current name protocol. The baseline Leopard 2 began leaving the factory in 1979, and it had the Rheinmetall 120mm smoothbore L44 gun, a hydraulic stabilizer, a fire control computer, wind sensor and a variety of optics. Also, it was powered by a MTU 1500 horsepower V12 twin-turbo engine. The development of the Leopard 2 can be broken down into two main branches. For simplicity and time, we'll only really discuss the second branch, as this nicely brings us up to the in-game variant. However, I will go over the first branch very briefly. The first branch extends from the 2A0 variant up to the 2A4 variant. These are easily distinguishable from the newer variants with their flat vertical turret armour. This branch brought upgrades over the baseline variant, such as thermal optics, improved NBC systems, and a digital fire control system. This branch started its production, as mentioned earlier, in 1979 with the A0 variant. The A1 was delivered in 1982, the A2 was first built in 1984, the A3 was delivered alongside the A2 in late 1984, and the A4 variant was built in 8 batteries from 1985 to 1992. Now the second branch. First bit of this second branch begins with the Leopard 2 IMP, or just improved. This was a prototype for improving the A4 variant. The IMP model is where we see the new wedge-shaped turret armour. This model led to the development of the 1995 A5 variant, which also brought further modifications including better armour composition, relocation of the commanders and gunner sights, and provisions to mount the new L55 gun. The 2A6 variant brought with it the addition of the newer L55 smoothbore gun, as provisions were made for that in the previous model. Then the 2A6 was given mine protection under the main body and improved internal survivability enhancements. This brought about the 2A6M variant. Canada borrowed 20 of these from Germany in 2007 for deployment in Afghanistan. In an effort to improve the firepower and protection for Canadian soldiers deployed there, Canada made modifications in the form of improved slat armour. Later in the Afghan war, they finally added air conditioning, before which Canadian tank crews had to wear cooling vests. These modifications brought about the Leopard 2A6M CAN variant, C-A-N variant, that we play today in Squad. Now we move on to the gameplay experience while in the Leopard. You have 4 seats to choose from. All are pretty much identical to the Abrams, but with 3 key differences that we'll see in a second. The driver role is exactly the same as in the Abrams. You have 3 windows and that's it. Let's not forget the health and systems indicators and the standard health pool of 3000 HP. As I mentioned in my other videos, the driver needs to be telling the gunner the state of the vehicle after every hit. A new point I'll make on driving is that it's a good idea to turn the engine off if you're stopped for more than a few seconds. Turning it back on is relatively quick and easy, and the benefits of turning it off outweigh those of leaving it on. That is, you are able to hear much more clearly with the engine off, plus you cannot be heard as easily by any enemies or enemy vehicles nearby. You have decent acceleration in Leopard and a top speed on the road of 68 km an hour. However, in game, on a very flat surface, I have managed to get this up above 75 km an hour. So expect 68, but you can get it a little quicker than that in perfect conditions. This is an average speed at best though. In my personal opinion, the Leopard is one of the most difficult tanks to control. That is, while moving on roads, especially downhill, it generally feels like you're driving on ice. The steering is not very responsive, and so at top speed you may struggle to take corners. Also at top speed, especially with the A and D keys, you end up bouncing between the sides of the road trying to correct, but you can never quite get the exact amount of turn that you want. If we talk about driver strategy in the Leopard, then it's quite the same as other tanks. Hull down is your friend, but maybe even more so in the Leopard, as the mantlet is an extremely small target. This makes it incredibly hard to penetrate, even at close range. If we take a look at the picture of the hitboxes on the Leopard, we see something different to the Abrams, that is, the yellow box. This area can be reliably penetrated at close range, but at or above 500 meters or so, the chances of bouncing are high. Similar to the Abrams though is the location of the ammo rack. And again, we see the green areas that are penetrable, and the non-boxed areas are those that are pretty much impossible to penetrate at any reasonable engagement range. As a gunner in the Leopard 2, you are given the same tools as the Abrams. You have 21 AP, 21 high explosive, 2 smoke canisters and 2,000 7.62mm coaxial rounds. The Leopard 2 has a quoted reload speed of 8.3 seconds, but tested on the firing range this can be around 7.5 seconds. The gunner can also complete a full 360-degree turret rotation in 9 seconds. One unique thing about the Leopard's gunner seat is that you have a different type of ranging mechanism. This is one of those differences to the Abrams that we talked about earlier. Similar to regular infantry sights, you're able to press and hold the X key while scrolling with the scroll wheel. On the left of the screen, you have 3 bars with an arrow that moves parallel to each. This arrow shows at what range you have zeroed the sights for each ammo type. To some, this is an extremely helpful tool and it's easy to adjust to when coming from playing infantry. However, to those more experienced with the standard ranging sights on other tanks, it can be quite a nuisance. Rather than just point, tilt your mouse up a bit and shoot, you have the extra step of pressing keys, scrolling, and then looking at the left of the screen. One other thing to remember in the Leopard is that even when zeroed and at long range, the sights are a little off target. That is, the gun always shoots slightly to the left of what you're pointing at. This is also true for the coaxial machine gun. The next seat is a commander, and with this we see another difference to the Abrams. Here you do not have a controllable machine gun. A downside, yes, but you have an excellent full 360-degree visibility and a great field of view. Another difference we see from the Abrams is that the Leopard's open-top gunner seat does not have a shield, thus making this seat even more useless. If you really do want to use it, then you have 525 7.62mm rounds to use, and no need to reload that gun. However, it can overheat. And also, not only do you not have a shield, but you can't properly look up and get your gunner's head down in the seat, so it's just useless really, guys. Now with that sorted, we can conclude that overall the Leopard 2 is a mighty vehicle that, in the hands of a trained crew, can compete with the likes of the Abrams. However, it can be quite a technical tank to learn, especially with the difficult steering and unique ranging mechanism on the gunner sights. At close ranges, it is extremely vulnerable on the upper-lower glacis, that yellow bit, and in certain circumstances is as vulnerable as a T-62. So, again, it's easy to kill if caught out wrong. To balance this though, you have a very low profile mantlet as we mentioned, and so at longer ranges and in a hold down position, the only penetrable area of this tank's turret is again extremely small, and so it's very difficult to engage. Furthermore, its limited selection of ammunition makes choices simple, but you do not have that extra support from the Crow gunner like in the Abrams or T-72. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. We very much appreciate the support. We're also so close to that lovely 1k subscriber milestone, and so every bit of engagement you guys give means a lot. Please like and subscribe again. Do leave a comment with what you thought. Before making the next video, I always comb the comments to hear what you have to say, and I always try to improve where possible. We will post the poll for the next vehicles in our Discord, with the link being in the comments to that down below. Thanks again. Boogs out.